Okay, so from the time of our last episode, some major horror news happened. Always seems to happen between our episodes because we're every 2 weeks. We're not doing more. Don't even ask. But there's a lesser streaming horror streaming service called Screambox that got the rights to Freddy's Nightmares somehow. This has never streamed anywhere before. It was playing on the El Rey network for a bit, but for those of you that don't know, it is the 90s anthology series based on Nightmare on Elm Street. A lot of the episodes are basically Tales from the Crypt, but with Freddy as the host instead of the Crypt Keeper. Some of them do feature Freddy, though, and they're basically sequels to Nightmare on Elm Street that a lot of you may not have seen. It's not a good show 90% of the time, but that 10% it's good, those episodes are worth it. And I've been watching from the beginning because I don't remember what's good and what wasn't, because this was a show I used to just set my VCR to tape when I was a kid. I do got to give you some tips, though. So Screambox, the website doesn't work sometimes. The interface kind of sucks. And I've been told that they know this and they're trying to fix it. But that doesn't mean you got to wait for this shit, because you, the listener, can subscribe to Screambox through Amazon as a channel and you will still get Freddy's Nightmares. It doesn't show up when you try to search for it before subscribing to the channel, but trust me, it's there. I had it verified before I did it. And you get something like a week trial or something like that too, but it's like $5. It's worth it. It's worth it just to see the show. They also have a lot of stuff that was on other streaming services that you might have missed. And it has the full run of Masters of Horror on there as too, which is another great anthology show. So I recommend it. Check it out. This is not a Freddy's Nightmares episode, though, sadly. We're going in a complete different direction because we planned this before the news came out. And that is, we're going to talk about movie theaters instead.
We should definitely do a Freddy's Nightmare episode, though.
We should. Once you guys finish all 44 episodes.
Or you could we could randomly, we could do a random selection of one episode apiece. Or you could just tell us what the best ones are, Casey.
Trust me, you do a random selection, you're going to get like episode 2 of the show, which probably is the reason the show only lasted a couple seasons. They should not have put that as the second episode. But
a couple seasons these days is decent.
And the director of the second episode is homeboy from Jason Lives. That director, forgetting his name, Tom Laughlin.
Oh yeah.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I think you're right on the money.
I think Screambox is like Bloody Disgusting owns that channel now. I think so. I think it's put out
now.
by them.
They didn't before.
Yeah.
They're partnering with it now, so that's like a brand new thing. It's like a rebranding, and this Freddy's Nightmares was there to suck people in, and god damn it, it worked. In 1 out of 3 cases, it works. I'm the one. They're the other 2. Let's talk about horror movies based in theaters instead. Hit the music.
Can our next episode be about horror movies that take place in video stores?
That sounds good.
If there aren't enough, then I'll make one. We could just read my script that I wrote in college.
Your script is great, Chris.
We'll just count.
Oh, thanks.
We'll just count Toxic Avenger Part 3, even though only like the first 2 minutes do.
Welcome to another miserable podcast, Horror Decomposed. My name is Zach. With me, as always, Professor Casey.
What's up?
Professor Chris Pistol.
Blood.
You know, guys, since the pandemic has hit, streaming has taken over the world, for better or for worse. And as much as I like streaming things on my Roku Smart TV, you just can't replicate the experience of going to the movies.
And getting murdered.
Death
in the movies. Things that are just too close to home these days.
horror and movie theaters go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Especially when someone's coughing right behind you.
Yeah.
So, especially that time I got shot when I went to go see New Jack City.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was painful.
Okay, we're going to have to talk about that later.
Yeah,
That never
circle
happened.
Back, let's circle back to that. There's nothing quite like a slasher film set in a movie theater. Horror films and movie theaters just kind of go hand in hand. There's plenty of horror movies that have scenes in movie theaters, but like full films that take place in a movie theater are kind of fewer and farther between. But we're going to talk about a few of those today, because today on Another Miserable Podcast, we're going to the movies.
Is that why you're picking your seat?
Yes. I am in C7. Where are you guys?
That was a butt-picking joke, Zach.
Oh.
Leave this in. Okay.
Remember when you didn't have to pick a seat? Like there were no assigned seats in movie theaters and you could just sit wherever the heck you wanted?
That was the
Yeah,
best.
I hated that shit. I don't like getting there early. I'm cool with, especially what now that like AMC's have that weird onesie seat that's kind of like off to the side, and I don't have to sit next to anyone at all ever.
I hate sitting on the side though. I always got there early, and I hate now like going with a group, having to correlate that shit and be like, okay, so I'm in this seat, so you pick these two seats. Oh, we can't have a gap in between this seat and this seat. Damn it. It's too frustrating.
I really don't like Maria Menounos, so I'm not getting to movie theaters early.
You don't like the newbie game where you like put your phone up to the screen and you like shoot the
because
spaceships?
there's never reception in the theater to play the game.
I played it a couple
works.
times. Yeah, it's hard. It's like it goes by too fast. It's hard to get a good score on that game.
You don't like Maria Menounos telling you all about the movie trailers you saw on YouTube a month ago?
Let me tell you a story about Maria Menounos. She had a match at WrestleMania once. She was the celebrity guest wrestler. And one of the other, she did some move to one of the girls that was wearing a lot of makeup, and she was wearing white pants. And the girl's like spray tan and makeup just caked right up her butt crack. So the whole audience, and WrestleMania has like 60,000 people, started chanting skid mark at her. Tremendous. Tremendous.
Is that why? So that's why you chant skid mark every time you go to the movies early.
Yeah. And sometimes by myself in the theater, because I will go to a movie theater by myself. I would be one of the victims of one of the killers in one of these movies, probably. But not mine, because
I definitely want to remake my movie, but have just one person end up being in the movie theater and it only be like 30 seconds long.
I want to set my movie on fire so that no one can see it. I want to make it London After Midnight status.
I mean, I liked my movie. What's like your favorite like scene in a movie theater in like a film, like a horror film?
Well, we're not here to talk about popcorn today. So eventually, I'm gonna save that for when we watch Popcorn, because popcorn's not available anywhere unless you buy the Blu-ray right now. So you know what? I'm gonna order the Blu-ray right now while you guys answer this question.
Kris, favorite horror scene set in a movie theater?
Oh, man. I feel like the obvious has got to be American Werewolf in London. But for the sake of being niche, I will choose the opening of Scream 2.
Ooh. It's a good one.
With all of its meta commentary involved. And also probably the reason that no one should ever wear costumes or masks in a theater. When I say masks, I mean...
I'm having trouble remembering which is the good... Oh, Steelbook Collector...
What's the better movie theater scene, from Gremlins or Gremlins 2?
Okay, which one doesn't involve a racist piece of shit?
Yeah, the first one's better.
In hindsight, yeah.
When it came out, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Obviously, The Blob. The Blob is one of the classic movie theater horror scenes of all time.
The Blobs is great.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I just rewatched The Blob, the 1980s Blob recently, and
so
I think
good.
the hardest I laughed in the movie is the dude in the not Jason movie when he sees the killer with a hockey mask and he goes, "It's not hockey season."
Yes.
I feel like they've stolen that for one of the Friday the 13th movies. They definitely had, that goalie looks pissed in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, the goalie looks pissed, but I don't think anyone
$22.99 by the way,
it's
guys.
not hockey season.
So we can do a popcorn commentary. $22.99 Blu-ray, Amazon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there is nowhere to stream popcorn, and the only place that has it YouTube, like the version on YouTube, is terrible.
Like
It's really,
my
low
eyes
res.
were hurting, so I picked a different movie. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Okay, Zach has to answer the question now so that he can talk about Phantom of the Megaplex.
Dude, honestly, that was probably one of the first movies I watched that was like set in a movie theater, and that's one of my favorite like Disney DCOM movies. It's for a Disney DCOM. It's pretty great.
I tried to rewatch it at some point during the pandemic, and I didn't get very far. I was just kind of bored.
Oh
but
my gosh, dude!
I'm sure it's fun.
Gotta watch. You just
Mickey
gotta like, let
Rooney.
your mind go.
Mickey Rooney,
Mickey Rooney.
is there. He's there. I'll say that.
He's great. He's great. I think you know.
wake me up when it's Mickey Rourke doing a Disney family movie, and I'm okay.
I
with
got kind of sad just imagining Mickey Rooney on the set of this Disney Channel movie.
Dude, he looks like he's having a great time, man.
He does.
He's
With
probably
all of these
dying on the
12-year-olds who
inside.
have no idea who he is.
It would have been better if he was actually the Phantom and like he was like really like insane and like trying to destroy the theater, but he's not. Spoiler alert, he is
Yeah.
not the Phantom. But it would have been great if he was, and he just pulled like a Silent Night, Deadly Night. What is it, 3 or 4? Yeah, that would have been great because he was so good in that.
Okay, Zach, now you have to really answer the question.
I mean, Gremlins is certainly up there. We're not covering it in this episode, but the Tingler, the final scene in the Tingler takes place in a movie theater. And the great thing about the Tingler is that it's a William Castle movie, so the whole gimmick is like geared towards the audience that's watching the movie. So like the screen goes black, and it's like if you're in the audience, you have to scream. You have to scream because there's like the gimmick of that was
scream.
something that like tickled the back of like certain audience members, hence like the Tingler or whatever.
It would
was,
shock the seats.
Yeah, it was like shock the seats.
Which sounds
Vibrate.
so safe.
Yeah.
It was vibrating. It was like, think of the Spider-Man villain, the Shocker, that he should really be called the Vibrator because he vibrates, but they can't call him that, so it's shocking.
I just love that interactive break the fourth wall, address the audience, you need to scream. Like, it like stops the movie and you just hear Vincent Price telling
Nice.
everyone to scream.
Because, you know, I fucking hated it about my movie. I'm just saying. Ahead of time.
I just wish like every movie would just like have a blackout moment where we just hear Vincent Price come on and just give us some narration.
Well, of course.
Address the audience. But I think that's got to be up there. There's so many though. American Werewolf in London was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. I wanted to give a shout out also to the scene from Messiah of Evil, which is a weird zombie movie, but it has a great scene where a woman is watching a film all by herself in a theater, and all of a sudden these zombies just start to fill up the theater one by one, and she turns around slowly and just starts to see all these people kind of converging on her. It's a really creepy scene. It's probably the best scene in that movie.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. The ending of In the Mouth of Madness.
That's a good one too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's just something about a movie theater. It feels like a safe place, especially as people like us who love watching movies. It just feels like a safe haven for movie lovers. And so to set a horror film in a movie theater is kind of encroaching on that territory. And there's just something about that setting, especially like an older looking movie theater with like a film projector. And it just makes such a good backdrop. And I'm going to certainly talk about in the film I watched because we're looking at 3 movies set at movie theaters. And let's get into it. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the movies.
On August 10th, in a California drive-in, it all began. It will grip you like nothing you have ever witnessed before. It is absolute and total horror.
Will you cut it out? Let me get
Come on, Alan.
Sweetheart.
Come on.
Come on, sweetheart.
Come on, that's not on. Alan, come on. Bill, see it, boy. Oh, come on.
Let me hear it.
Alan.
Great great times. I couldn't watch Popcorn. That's the one I wanted to do. As soon as Zach gave the idea, I'm like, dibs on Popcorn. Oh, it makes my eyes bleed to try to watch this version of Popcorn. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I have Drive-In Massacre on Blu-ray. I haven't watched that yet. There's a reason. I couldn't get through the first few minutes. And yeah, you probably won't be able to either. I do want to say right now that this review, in order to tell you how much I hate this movie, because I hate this movie.
But you're glad you have the
I'm
Blu-ray
going to have to spoil it. Okay? To just show how inept everything about this movie is. You start off and it's like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's a drive-in theater. It's the Simi Valley drive-in. I know where that used to be. You know, I work not far from there, actually. Drive by it every day. And, yeah, that's the best part of this movie. Because there is, okay, so synopsis of this movie that a lot of you may have heard is it's kind of like a proto-slasher, right? This came out right between Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween, okay? 2 years between each one. So slashers knew how to be interesting because Texas Chainsaw Massacre already came out. This movie is not interesting in any way. But it sounds cool because it's about a drive-in and a murderer is going around and chopping people up with a samurai sword while they're watching movies. So your first question is, why don't they just shut down the movie theater? Well, the owner's very greedy, and he's the Christian version of Anton LaVey, basically, because he looks exactly like Anton LaVey, but they put a big cross around his neck, maybe so you don't think he's like satanic or something. I don't know. It was kind of weird, like how much he dressed like him, and he had a similar like facial hair and shaved head combo, but they put a giant cross on him. It's kind of strange. He's greedy. Okay. This turns into a Scooby-Doo episode kind of quickly where they're trying to figure out who is doing this to ruin the movie theater. And when I say they, I mean these two bumbling cops that look so much alike that it's hard to tell them apart through most of the scenes.
The most like straight-faced, like boring detectives you've ever seen. So boring that it's hilarious.
It's like they asked the director what their motivation was, and he just said, "Oh, you guys don't have any. Just act like you don't want to fucking be here right now."
They're like so humorless and deadpan until one scene later on in the movie, which I'm sure Casey will get to.
Yeah,
I hated them and I loved them.
I hated them because they were 80% of the runtime of this movie. Slashers should not be doing that. Luckily, the runtime of this movie is only 75 minutes. It'll feel like 3.5 hours, but it's not. Okay, so they interview the guy that runs the place. They interview a helper guy that may or may not be slightly mentally challenged. That used to be a circus geek that was a sword swallower. But he says the swords belong to the guy that's the boss. They were both in the circus together. Okay.
Yeah, so there's two people at this drive-in that know how to swing a sword.
Yeah, and then there's a pervert that goes around and peeps on cars. And when they go to bust him, he tells the cops, "I was just trying to beat my meat." Actual quote. And they quickly clear him because he has no swords around the house. Because he can't be hiding them anywhere else, right? But it's funny because like they say, "Oh, do you mind if we search your place for swords?" And he's like, "No, go ahead." And so like the cops go one of the cop guys goes in the kitchen and he starts looking through the cabinets like above the sink, like where you keep dishes, like thinking there's gonna be a sword in there.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty great.
And then he like makes a run for it.
So they're like, "Okay, this is the dude," but it wasn't the dude. Okay, it wasn't the dude. So this movie's a series of it wasn't the dude moments, okay? Some of them make zero sense. So they're trying to track this killer down and it's false lead after false lead after false lead, right? And then eventually we switch to this warehouse where there's this crazy old man. Huh?
This sequence was so long. So they get a tip
Interminable.
that, there's someone in a warehouse who's killed two people and he has a sword and he has a hostage. And they're like, "Oh, that must be our guy." So we get like a 15-minute sequence.
not a sword, it's a machete, but this movie's fucking stupid to begin with, so I just figured whatever, roll with it. And he's chasing this girl through a warehouse going, little girl, I'm gonna get you, little girl, blah blah blah. They needed to pad the runtime a lot of this movie to get to the 75 minutes, and this scene, good portion of it. Okay, so eventually the cops come and they shoot the guy and they kill him. And then the girl says, you didn't have to shoot him. That was my dad.
This is after she's been like screaming for help and asking anyone to get him away
and
from
trying
her.
to escape. And then she's like,
and after he killed like her mom and like her,
I'll get to that.
else,
so anyway, she goes, he was a sick man. He didn't mean to kill my aunt and my mom. And anyways, he just escaped from the mental hospital today, which they're like, oh shit, today? The murders took place 2 days ago. The murders took place 2 days ago. Whoops. And so it was a completely different murderer that had nothing else to do with the rest of this movie. Okay.
So the pattern of this movie has been like a murder takes place at the drive-in, then we cut to these detectives like interviewing someone for like 15 minutes, and then we get to another like murder at the drive-in.
That clears the person from before most of the time.
Yeah, at one point the detectives stake out in the movie theater, and to do this they decide one of them needs to dress up as a woman for some fucking reason.
And the way he dresses like a woman is he wears a wig.
Sometimes you gotta,
and he wears the hat
like
that Goofy wears. And a sundress, but he also wears the hat that Goofy wears to hold his wig on. And there's a scene where one of them's ducking behind some stuff, and it looks like he might be blowing the guy a little bit. It's
comedy.
So they're trying to stake out the pervert guy. And when he looks over to their car, the guy in the wig goes to his partner. He's like, oh, he's looking over here. And he turns to his partner and he goes, come over here, man. Like to kiss him. And his partner goes, get the shit off of me.
And so as they're apprehending the pervert and they have him in their hands, someone else gets beheaded by a samurai sword. So he's clear. Okay.
So you have these guys yucking it up going, get off of me, you idiot.
We're treated to an extended scene where the circus geek guy goes to the fair and he's just hallucinating about all the accusations that have been levied at him. Another padding the runtime scene where you get some kind of psychedelic flashes.
It seems like it's supposed to hint that he's the killer, perhaps.
Yeah,
that was sort of the vibe I got.
What happens next is first thing, the killer murders Anton LaVey, kills him, and then they're like, oh shit, well, we got him cornered now because he went into the projection room. There's only one person that's in the projection room. It's Circus Boy. They go in there and he's tacked to the wall dead. And then a title card comes up saying, they never caught the killer. He could be anybody, anywhere. And then a fake announcement.
No.
The police are coming. There's a murderer loose in the drive-in. Stay in your cars. That's how the movie ended.
Like to utter silence. It's kind of creepy, actually. It's terrible, but it is kind of an unsettling ending.
I spent money on this movie, so these people can eat shit.
Yeah, I guess this was a blind buy.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
did not pay off.
I mean, I got it cheap at a con, buying direct from, I think it's Vinegar Syndrome. It was Vinegar Syndrome or Severin. One of you two is a guilty party. Just send me some free stuff to make up for it or something. But yeah, oh God. Yeah, this movie felt 3 hours long, even though it was an hour and 15 minutes long. A lot of it was padded. A lot of it was the cops. Not too many people getting their heads chopped off with samurai swords. And most of the time when it happened, you would just see the aftermath. You wouldn't actually see it happen. So, yeah, I recommend this to absolutely no one. 1/2 star on Letterboxd. Go watch Popcorn instead. That movie rules.
I'm just going to add on. Yeah, I watched this movie after Casey told me last minute that he was changing to this. And it was on like Tubi or something. And it was like 80 minutes. So I was like, sure. Oh, man, dude, that was a long 80 minutes. But I did like the ending. I kind of liked, because none of the suspects felt right to me. I didn't really want it to be the nice janitor guy that was just walking around making sure the drive-in was functioning and his boss is treating him like shit. I didn't want it to be
This
him.
is the circus geek.
Yeah. So I kind of liked that they just left it open, like it was nobody and the killer's still on the loose. And I thought the ending was effective. Outside of that, it's
They
absolutely
thought,
dreadful to
oh, like
watch it.
Black Christmas did it.
He thought the ending was effective because he didn't spend money to watch this movie. He watched it
No,
on
I
fucking Tubi. So maybe you'll feel different if you watch it on Tubi. It is on there right now. There's better things to do with your life. I can give you 10 movies to watch on Tubi instead of this one.
Warning, drive-in massacre has been deemed too terrifying for the average viewer. The risk is entirely yours.
All right, guys, I want you to, for our next movie that we're covering today, I want you to take a step back in time to 1993. Casey, you were
Okay.
about 12.
I'm 4.
13.
13. I was 2. Chris, you were a couple years older than that.
I'm 4.
4. And I want you to transport yourselves to Uruguay.
Ooh,
To a movie theater in Uruguay.
It's not how that's pronounced.
Uruguay. How do you spell? How do you?
Uruguay. Also,
Uruguay.
gotta say,
Uruguay.
1993, great year for movies because it brought us Pauly Shore and The Son-in-Law, brought us The Leprechaun, brought us Demolition Man, Simon Says Die, greatest villain in cinematic history, Simon Phoenix, brought us Coneheads, Last Action Hero, fuck that movie.
I'm pretty sure Coneheads is the only movie I watched that year.
1993 brought us Ticks. Yes, have it on Blu-ray.
Jurassic
Brought
Park.
us Jason Goes to Hell. Fuck that movie.
I think we did a retrospective episode on 1993, actually. So look. That
Actually,
up.
we did.
That's an old one. Anyway, the movie I am talking about is The Last Matinee. It came out in 2020, but it's set in 1993. It's directed by Maximiliano Contenti. It is a really fun, gorgeous-looking homage to kind of Italian slashers and movie theater set slashers, such as Anguish. It's got a lot of nods to Argento. This is really fun. It's an international co-production from Uruguay and Argentina. So it's set in 1993. And it's got a really simple setup. It takes place in Montevideo Theater in Montevideo, which is a city in Uruguay. And it's just a really great backdrop. It's got lots of like reds and greens and golds. It's just really pretty to look at. So the story, it's about a serial killer who just preys on an audience attending a matinee screening, watching a adaptation of Frankenstein. Like a newer adaptation, actually. The interesting thing is the adaptation of Frankenstein they're watching is called Frankenstein Day of the Beast, and the director of that movie is the killer in Last Matinee. So, fun little collab there. It's Frankenstein Day of the Beast, which I'd almost covered in our bogus Frankenstein and pop culture episode, but I didn't, which was directed by Richard Islas. He plays the killer in The Last Matinee. The killer in this movie is known as Asino Como Ojos, which is the eye-eating killer, because the killer in this movie likes to collect people's eyeballs in a jar, which is a nod to Anguish.
Gnarly.
I would like to apologize to any of our Spanish-speaking listeners for any of
I
Zach's
apologize as well. I'm very white. You know.
They can tell. Asesino.
Asesino come ojos. Eye-eating killer. The eye-eating killer. So, yeah, we got a handful of people that are attending the screening. The lead
Zach,
character...
I got a pitch. Asesino come mierda. The shit-eating killer.
Oh, gosh.
Book it.
So, the film, so it revolves around... the lead character is this young student. I think she's a college student, and she decides to watch the theater for her dad, who's a little under the weather. So she takes over for him in the projectionist booth and is studying. And while she's studying, people attend this screening, as well as a serial killer. And eventually, he takes out one of the employees and locks everybody inside the theater, unbeknownst to them. And he slowly starts picking people off one by one by one. It's really simple, but it's super effective. You know, there isn't a lot to say about this movie other than you should watch it because it's good. You know, I think if you dig things like Demons, which Kris is going to talk about in a bit, if you like Anguish, if you like slasher movies, if you like
Anguish.
Suspiria, if you like Argento, if you like Giallo, this is like a neo Giallo kind of movie. It's really entertaining. There's some really stunning looking shots. I don't really want to spoil too much, but there's a scene with, let's say, some body parts tumbling down a staircase at one point towards the end of the movie. Looks fantastic. It's really suspenseful.
Kind of hard to make tumble down some stairs.
You know, the
I
kills
guess it depends on the part.
If you're a
I was
gore
mostly
hound,
just imagining fingers.
yeah.
I was imagining like intestines trying to roll downstairs. Kind of hard.
Oh, you'll have to watch the movie. But he is known as the eye-eating killer, so I'll just say that. But
With
yeah,
eyes.
maybe. So, yeah, there's like a little kid that snuck into the theater, so you have that kind of innocent, young child that you don't want to see get hurt, and this killer's pretty nasty. There's some really fun kind of one of the kills is certainly like a nod to like Jason, and so it's just effective. What it lacks in substance, it makes up for with style, and it has a lot of style. I think this is one of the prettiest looking like slashers I've seen in a long time. So I definitely recommend The Last Matinee. If you like slashers, if you like giallo, if you like Argento, you're gonna dig this. It's a good time. It's not very long. It's like 85 minutes maybe. It flies by, and it's gonna make you want to go to the movies and maybe sit in the back and so you can watch. Make sure no one comes up and tries to like stab your eyeballs out. But I definitely recommend this. I gave it about 3.5 out of 5. That's The Last Matinee. I'm very interested to see what Maximiliano Contenti does next, because this was a really fun watch.
Or Maximiliano.
I will say, if you're squeamish about eyeballs, there are some like dangling eyeball scenes. Then you might want to skip this one. But they do a good job. Like the audience that sees this movie, there's like a couple like on a first date, and the guy's kind of nervous and awkward, and the girl is just kind of the opposite. There's a few teenagers that are just kind of goofing off, and one of them kind of sees a pretty girl that he like saw on a bus earlier and wants to go and talk to her. So there's a lot of fun kind of interplay between all of them, and it makes for a good mix. There's one of the movie guys who works at the movie theater who has a terrible mustache. And, he's just kind of
Dude, you know what? That's why those cops sucked in my movie, dude. No one had a mustache.
This guy has a killer mustache. And there's a pretty good like scene where he's like smoking a cigarette and then gets his like throat slit and like cigarette smoke comes out of his neck. That's kind of a spoiler, but
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
yeah.
I mean, Beetlejuice did it, but come on.
Yeah. So The Last Matinee. Style over substance, but it has a lot of style. Check it out. It's on Shudder right now. It's a good watch.
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to buy ourselves a snack.
Oh
Our
shit,
meat,
popcorn
it
is
can't be
$30.
beat. Our sugar is real sweet. Yeah. I don't think
$15
those are
for
the
a
real lyrics.
soda.
I don't think our meat cannot be beat is one of the lyrics. But
If we're going to the movies,
we gotta get some concessions.
we got to get some
snacks.
concessions, right? So
I just
concession
spent
break.
$10 on some Mike and Ike's.
What is your like go-to concession stand snack, gentlemen?
Oh,
Ooh.
dude. Okay, now
Yeah.
mozzarella sticks and AMC. Come on. The subreddit will not steer you wrong on those. Get those goddamn mozzarella sticks. Trust me.
So you go savory. You do like the full like meal like at
Yeah, but I'm a Milk Duds guy, dude. You get me Milk Duds, I'm happy. I love them. Love them. Unless you're watching Kung Pao Enter the Fist. You don't want to eat Milk Duds while you're watching that. And the guy comes up, my nipples look like Milk Duds. No, you don't want that.
I understood
What
that
about you,
reference.
Chris?
I love me some Bunch of Crunch if I'm just gonna get
Ooh.
a candy, but I also like some. If I'm doing the popcorn and soda thing, I'll do some M&Ms with that as well, so you can mix that in a little bit with your popcorn.
That's a good one.
Get the
I
salty
need
and
to
the
try
sweet
that
in
more
there.
often. That's a good one.
It's delicious. Except sometimes you gotta really like get the big M&Ms and sprinkle them on. If you get the M&M minis, they will fall to the bottom of the bag.
Historically, I was a Red Vines guy, but there was these chocolate-covered almonds, which if you followed our old blog, I actually did a review on these chocolate-covered almonds. They're tuxedo chocolate-covered almonds. They're like never at the theaters anymore, but if you see them...
Absolutely riveting content.
If you see them, they're really, really good.
I did not know what Red Vines were growing up.
Are you guys Red Vines or Twizzlers?
I never liked Twizzlers because
Twizzlers,
it does not taste like candy. It tastes like cherry flavored plastic, and we didn't have Red Vines, so I don't know what those are.
Red Vines are the best. You got to get Red Vines, Chris. I do like Twizzlers.
Dude, if you get the chance for grapevines, though, go for them. They are amazing. Kind of hard to find.
If you see Twizzlers pull and peel, those are the good Twizzlers to go for, especially the cherry ones. They're bomb. They should
I don't know
have
if
those
they
in the
make
movie
those
theater.
anymore.
Oh, they were so good. Okay, ices, cherry or blue raspberry.
Coke icy every time.
Coke and cherry mixed together, yeah.
That's a good. I used to get cherry Coke Slurpees at 7-Eleven all the time. Okay, and your favorite like limited time snack that like a movie theater is promoted. Casey, you'd probably have an answer for this one.
Oh, dude, the Spider-Man popcorn that made your poop weird colors, like that was pretty great. No, it was red and blue Spider-Man popcorn. Might make you think you're dying when you're going to the bathroom, but delicious. You're okay. It's just a lot of dye, and your whole mouth is like You look like let's not make the joke about doing that to a Smurf right now. No.
We promise to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go!
The preview you are about to watch is for a movie that is unlike any you have ever seen before. It is for a movie that goes beyond temporary fear to everlasting terror. It is a movie called Demons. Yes, the demons are coming, and they're coming for you. Warning, if you have the courage to see demons, sit near an exit. Otherwise, you might never get out. In your theater, who will survive the touch of the demons, and who will not? Demons.
There's just nothing quite like getting a popcorn and an icy and your favorite candy and sitting down and watching a good old slasher. So let's talk about our last pick in the episode today. Kris, you're talking about the ultimate horror movie set in the theater, aren't you?
I was gonna say which doesn't feature a slasher. It features
it's not a
demons?
slasher.
Question
Right.
mark? I mean, the title is Demons or Demoni,
aka just zombies, but they're demons.
Yeah, no, they
Well,
got flashy eyes,
They
dude.
are
They're demons.
they are basically Deadites meets zombies. This is the Italian film Demons from 1985, directed by Lamberto Bava, the son of Mario Bava, and produced by Dario Argento, whose name is huge on the poster.
To the point where when I was in high school, I thought he directed this movie. He does not direct this movie.
Yeah, everyone kind of, I think, associates this movie more with him than with Lamberto Bava, because it's Italian and it's a horror movie, and so you're going to put Dario Argento's name on it. But yeah, this definitely sort of feels Italian, in at least the way it's lit. There is multiple colors throughout this film. This is the most multiple colored cinema you've ever been to.
To the point where it's like, how practical would it be to be this colorful in a room that's supposed to be dark?
I'm not sure why they're just like giant blue and red and green lights just like blasting from every corner. But yeah, so Demons is the story of two women who get invited to a secret screening, or at least a premiere screening of a mysterious movie. So they assume it's kind of like basically like a pre-screening, like an audience sort of test screening. They have no idea what the movie is going to be, and they show up and meet two nice preppy guys who look like who actually one of them kind of looks like Zach a little bit. I was thinking that through the beginning of this movie. If Zach was an extra on Saved by the Bell, then this is what this and was like really skinny. This is what this kid would look like. So,
If I was an extra on Saved by the Bell, that
yeah. If you were like one of the extras who's like a Screech's friend, you know, like in the
like the
background.
nerds that they have in the background.
Oh,
yeah.
So I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not cool enough to be Zach's friend, even though my name is Zach.
Well, this kid, you probably would, but this kid in this movie is definitely not.
This kid's a fucking nerd, bro. Is what we're saying.
No, thanks.
Yeah,
thanks,
he's
guys.
probably also in the
Well, we're
theater
not
department
saying you're a
because-
nerd. We're saying this guy.
Yeah,
Just
he
messing
just
with
happens
looks
to have
like
your
you.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, this kid I think is a wannabe thespian because when he starts to turn into a zombie, he gets super dramatic on everybody and just trying to milk it for all it's worth. He thinks he's like dying in a Shakespeare play.
It's so great with all the dubbing in this movie too. Oh god, this fucking
This
guy's
has
voice.
this might be some of the best / worst dubbing in an Italian horror movie I've ever seen. Worse in the fact that it's like awful, like it's terrible dubbing, but best in the sense that it sounds hilarious, and it makes the movie better and more watchable as it goes on. So yeah, the main things that this movie has going for it is that and gore. And so where the gore comes from is that, you know, these two girls and these two guys meet up at this movie theater. They're watching a horror film. Of course, it's a horror film. And a girl who's like fucking around in the lobby, and there's like this like samurai sword and this like 16th century fortune teller mask thing in the lobby just hanging out.
It's a wonderful mask. The mask
this,
is $100. You can get a replica for $100. It's sold out fucking everywhere. It is beautiful though.
Yeah, so
This mask.
they assume it's like a prop from that has to do with this movie, and this woman is fucking around and puts them on the mask. And I guess there's like a rogue spike somewhere in the mask because it just like gnarly cuts her cheek open, and she starts to bleed. And then we have a poltergeist sort of scenario where her face just starts to become distorted. She has to get up and leave throughout the movie. And then, oh my god, one thing leads to another. She turns into a deadite. Or at least a demon.
I'm showing the guys a lamp made out of the mask for $175 on Etsy.
It's pretty
That
bad.
looks like a prop from Big Trouble in Little China.
Kinda, yeah.
So then it kind of turns into your sort of standard zombie scenario where one person gets attacked and then multiple people get attacked but before you know it, the entire movie theater is crawling in these demons, and somehow someone has not only blocked the doors to this movie theater. There's like cement blocks covering every entrance and every window of the theater, preventing
Blair
anyone
Witch
from
shit
getting
right
out.
there.
Yeah. This movie
like it
operates
skipped
on its own
realities
logic
a
for
little
sure.
Yeah. What's weird is there's like 3 or 4 sequels. There's a lot of
I have not
sequels.
I've not seen the sequel. I hear it's actually fairly decent, but I have not seen it.
There are a lot of unofficial sequels.
I thought there was
think
only
that-
2.
Let's see. I'm looking this up right now. Leave this in so that people can know how a show. Okay,
So
there's definitely
the
Demons
things
2.
things that this movie has going for it is, you know, it's insanely gory. It definitely feels like Lamberto Bava saw Evil Dead and was like, well, I can do that shit. And made their own Evil Dead essentially in a movie theater with a whole bunch of with an even bigger cast so that more people can turn into these like demons, aka deadites.
Yeah. And there's the whole motorcycle kind of scene.
Yeah.
theater,
The highlights are
which is
definitely
great.
the motorcycle scene. So character ends up driving his motorcycle through the theater to save the day at the end. It's got a kick-ass soundtrack. It's got Motley Crue and Billy Idol on the soundtrack. I don't know how the hell they got the rights to use, because this feels like a no-budget movie. This feels like a super low-budget movie. And all of it must have gone towards the gore and the soundtrack. because it's a pretty fucking great soundtrack and a pretty great score along with it. Kind of one of those like techno-y, dreamscape type scores.
Last Matinee had a similar kind of score.
Yeah.
So depending on where you go, there's 10 sequels. Depending on what you count as a sequel, most of them are renamed movies, renamed to be sequels. Wow.
I hadn't seen
Kris.
this movie in a few years, and I couldn't really remember a whole lot of it going into it. It started to come back to me as I was watching it. And I think one of the reasons is that, it's a super thin plot. Like, not much is going on in this movie besides, like, people fucking getting torn to pieces by zombies and people freaking out and running around. Like, that's pretty much the movie. It was originally supposed to be planned to be a part of an anthology, and I think you can definitely feel that because the plot is so pretty thin and the characters are pretty super thin as well. There's like 3 or 4 cokehead punks who are just like driving around and literally sniffing cocaine out of a Coca-Cola can, which is kind of fun.
Those
kind of
guys are
entertaining part of
hilarious.
the
That's
movie.
your Return of the Living Dead
Yeah.
reference, kind of.
Yeah, it felt very Return of the Living Dead. But they show up and then immediately turn into zombies, so it was kind of like, okay, I guess that was for nothing. I guess they like drive into the theater and like cause a little bit of plot progression for our main characters.
Yeah, like actually into the theater. Like
Yeah. Because they're like, oh shit, we got to get out of here somehow. One thing I'll say is that I feel like as like good as this movie looks and the production value for what they had, it definitely feels like the location itself starts to feel confining at a certain point. Like there's only so many places in this building we can go. Like we're in the sort of like theater and we're in the lobby and the projection booth, and it's kind of like, okay, where else can we, let's go to the vents. We're crawling through the vents now. So like if this had been like a multiplex, which I don't think really even existed at this point in time, it might have been a little bit more interesting. Which is probably the best thing that Phantom of the Multiplex
what
has
year are
going
we
for it,
talking
Zach.
about?
This is
Oh,
85.
Yeah,
So maybe the big
Yeah.
cities have multiplexes, but it's not really everywhere yet.
in the United States, yeah.
Yeah. So Italy does not have multiplexes.
Italy, who knows?
Yeah.
Uh,
but
God, I love this movie though. Kris, did you?
I really, really like it. It doesn't quite like reach the heights of like something like, Evil Dead or something that is really can stay with you. I think for me, it like the movie just doesn't like wholly stay with me because it's like, on paper, like this movie has like just as good as gore, if not even more disgusting gore than something like Evil Dead. But yeah, the characters are kind of thin for me, and the plot kind of like, it just feels like, okay, like at a certain point, like what's going on? Like, I don't know. It feels like you're running in circles at a certain point.
It's a really good. I feel like it's a really good double feature movie to pair with something like Spooky.
Yes, and it's super
those
short
two
too.
Or
feel-
Zombie-thon, which
Yeah.
is just clips of zombie movies framed by zombies eating people in a movie theater.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
really trim this, if you did like really trim this down and make it part of an anthology, it'd be like the best part of the anthology. But it would be like fucking amazing.
The series itself becomes an anthology because so many of the sequels are retitled, non-related shit that it becomes an anthology series pretty quick. I think 2 still is a movie theater though, right? I think? I totally don't remember.
No, it's an apartment complex.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. It's like The Raid with zombies.
Ooh.
Years before The Raid and much less interesting than The Raid. I love The Raid. Demons, I say only watched the first one. But this did resonate with enough people that this movie, out of all the movies we've talked about, has merchandise for it. And
It's got a pretty iconic.
the mask sells a
evil mask.
lot. And there's been bobbleheads of the mask. There's been replica masks as lights, wearable masks, all kinds of stuff. So it does resonate with some people. Some people, this is someone's favorite movie. I would say with the other 2 we talked about, there's no chance those are anyone's favorite movie. No offense, Zach. Yours sounds cool, but I don't think it's anyone's favorite movie.
Well, it just came out, and not enough people know about it. But I definitely recommend The Last Matinee. It's funny. Chris
wanna check it
mentioned
out.
Phantom of the Megaplex. Chris mentioned Phantom of the Megaplex, which I've like always kind of wanted to cover on this show, even though it's not a horror movie. It is a
We
Disney
gotta do
original.
we gotta do our Disney Channel original movie episode, which Casey will
We
not
do.
participate in.
Oh, dude, dibs on boogity. Okay, this is our next episode. Is the Disney Channel movie episode?
All right,
I'm
I
totally
got my
down.
dibs. I got my dibs.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll save Phantom of the Megaplex talk for that then. Stay tuned, folks. But I will talk about, briefly, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 because these guys won't watch it.
Fuck no.
I started it and I plan on finishing it. I just
What part did you stop at?
fucking I don't remember, man.
I'm curious.
Let's see. I got to the part where Leatherface crashes the van and puts the face on his face. Then he kills the main guy. He goes back to the town and kills the main guy. I think that's as far as I'm at. He's killed like the main guy.
Okay.
So
The most suspenseful stuff is ahead of you. So
okay.
I will say, it doesn't feel as much like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie in terms of like the Sawyer family isn't really in it. So if you're looking for that, you're not going to get that from this movie. So there's no Chop Top, obviously, but like
No
there's
chop top, no peace.
You know,
it's just like
some of the most fun stuff
one of the
from
moms, but
the series.
Yeah. So like that kind of character stuff you're not getting. But you are getting a very kind of gritty, it's by the numbers, but it's like, I would say the kind of suspense sequences are very effective. They're suspenseful. There's a really good dynamic between, I think, the two sisters. One of the sisters is a survivor of a school shooting, which is an interesting wrinkle to add in there. So she's kind of still obviously very traumatized from that and has a lot of, PSD or PTSD. And so it's interesting. And then the whole setup as to why they're in this town where Leatherface is kind of, it's pretty flimsy.
It's fucking dumb.
And it doesn't really seem very
It's really
fleshed
fucking
out. Yeah, they're trying to like, I don't know, gentrify like this town or something and like use it to like for like a cooking business and to, it's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
I've seen so this movie has a lot of like nothing to say about the type of characters that it has, and I've seen people who are like like super liberal who hated this movie because like they felt like it was just like idiotic sort of jokes on that behalf, and then I hated people and then I saw people I know who are super right wing who hated this movie because it has like left characters in it. So this movie like pleases no one. This movie,
And I've seen people say it's not trying to say anything about either side, so just watch the movie and enjoy yourself. And then everyone else is saying, no, I watched it, I didn't enjoy myself. Zach's the only person I know that likes this
No,
movie.
that's I kind of fall with those people like as a very liberal person. This movie is not really saying much political to me at all.
no,
It's a slasher movie. Like it's
there just to get people's attention.
Sometimes,
and that's it.
Sometimes a movie's just a movie.
yeah, like the whole
Yes.
cancel thing is just to get a response from people. It's stupid. Like
It's a lame joke. Yeah.
this movie isn't pro gun. It's not pro. It's just a slasher movie, but I think it's an effective movie. I think Leatherface, he's always terrifying, and I think
It is an anti-chainsaw movie, though, Zach.
he uses that chainsaw to good effect in this movie. So
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him use the chainsaw yet, so I got to keep watching.
there are some very like effective scenes. Like I care about the sisters in this movie. I wanted to see them get out. I thought Sarah Yarkin did a great job carrying this film for the most part, and the other actress that plays her sister is great as well.
Go watch
I
Kimmy
just-
on HBO Max. It's
Yeah,
fucking great.
go watch Kimmy, and go watch Severance on Apple Plus. But I
that's
do
what
think
that was what's irritating me the most about this was seeing
Elsie Fisher is the other sister.
so many people watch this because it's on Netflix, and I'm like, oh guys, there's a way better like original movie that's also fucking suspenseful as shit, and no one's checking it out because it doesn't have.
Oh, is Kimmy a movie? I thought it was a series.
No, it's a 89-minute movie.
Oh,
Gets in and
okay.
gets
Very
out.
short.
Fucking lean and to the point and fucking great.
I do gotta say, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, also a very short movie.
It's leaning to the point as well.
I'm
Be
very
fair.
happy to see
Yeah.
people chilling the fuck out about 3-hour horror movies. Thank you.
I think Casey
yet
is
I
someone
still
who
haven't
likes
gotten
Halloween
through it.
Kills. Well, that's just because you're not trying.
I'm still never gonna watch it, Zach. This could be
You would like it.
the next
You would-
Skull
honestly,
the Mask, and I'm
You would like it, Casey. I do think you would enjoy it. But like if you're very like staunchly against any kind of reboots at all, this isn't gonna change your mind. But I do think the performances are uniformly solid. It delivers on the gore sequences if you're really into that kind of stuff. I think they're visceral and effective. It's suspenseful. Yeah, there are stupid lines and the setup doesn't make sense and you're missing all the characterization and the color of like the Sawyer family. You're not getting anything like that. But it's a suspenseful slasher movie.
They brought back the original main actor from the first movie because Jamie Lee Curtis. Halloween did it.
First of all, you're gonna bring somebody back. Bring back fucking Stretch if you're gonna bring someone back. I feel like I've already said this on this show.
I don't think she was the original actress that played Sally. I think it was someone else. That was
It was
just
the
portraying
original
character.
character.
Yeah, it's the same character, but yeah, the whole Sally stuff is kind of weak and random, but it's there. But again, there's some really great suspenseful sequences, and I think it's worth a watch. I gave it about 3 stars. I don't think it's terrible. So
I did learn one thing from this experience.
Yeah.
There was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel in 2017.
I actually haven't seen that one, but yeah, there was. Isn't that just
Fucking
Texas Chainsaw?
sucked.
I had no idea.
Yes.
That
And then
just
there was
like
Leatherface.
That's the movie
Snuck
that
under
made
the
me say
radar.
I'm never watching one again because of the 2017 movie.
it should have been released right to Netflix, and then everyone would have seen it and hated it just as much.
Did you like the 03 one, Casey?
No.
Okay.
No. Let's give Leatherface no nose. Fuck you. Come on.
I haven't seen that in a while. That one felt a little more like a traditional Texas Chainsaw Massacre film because it's just a remake, and it they have the whole family there. This doesn't have the Sawyer family.
Michael Bay's
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Stay away from my movies, Michael.
I think as far as bringing Leatherface back into the spotlight, I think it certainly does that, and it seems like they're hinting at a more traditional Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel, without spoiling too much. So, again, there's worse ways to spend your time. I think it's effective, and I would give it a watch if you like a good slasher
Don't
movie.
hint at shit people want. Just give us what the fuck we want. What bothers me about a lot of movies is they'll tease something we want and then we won't get it. Okay, this is why Green Lantern failed. Spent a whole movie teasing Sinestro. It's not the only reason Green Lantern failed. That movie was a piece of shit. They spent the whole movie teasing Sinestro, the villain we wanted to see. We didn't get him until the post-credits scene. No fucking Green Lantern movie now, is there? Okay. There's a lot of other examples. Just give us what we want. That shitty Mortal Kombat movie. Tease Johnny Cage at the end. How about you give me a Johnny Cage movie and get this Cole guy the fuck out of here? Now you've got me ranting, Zach.
This was a dark place to take
Imagine the amount of 4-letter words I'm gonna have when we talk about those Disney Channel movies.
You know what I want? I want like a Jason Takes Manhattan, but like Leatherface Takes Orlando.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'd rather set him loose in like Tampa or something, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, like you see him strolling through the beach, like through a mini golf course. So yeah,
Only if he does one of Terry Funk's anti-Florida promos while he does it, and I'm all good for it.
so that was a little trip to the movie theater. I hope you guys are enjoying your streaming services.
Are you guys
and
going to
getting-
the movie theaters at all lately? Last thing I saw was Spider-Man. Then Omicron happened. I have not seen Jackass Forever. I really want to.
Yeah, I'd love to, but I'm a bit busy lately with the school and the puppies.
Kris got a puppy. Congratulations, buddy. He's adorable.
Yes, congrats.
Or she's adorable.
I'll have to go see the Batman when that comes out.
I've seen the toys. They're very uneventful.
I am going to see the
Casey
new Beverly Hills
everyone will
showing.
review the movie, and Casey will review the toys.
Yeah, it's already a thumbs down for the toys, I'm afraid.
The new Beverly Theater in Hollywood is showing Some Like It Hot like 3 days this week, so I have to go. So
Nice.
I'm gonna do that.
You should. They have the best popcorn in town.
Oh, do they? I don't think I've had their popcorn.
I remember really liking it, and I haven't had it in probably 4 years now. But
They've got that great screen that's probably the size of your TV at home.
I saw and on Twitter everyone one day was debating the best popcorn in LA, and New Beverly by far had the most votes.
All right, Kris approved.
And
You heard
it's
it here
cheap.
first, folks.
You can get a popcorn and a soda for like $6.
And their tofu dogs are the shit. They're great.
Okay, but listeners, I want to hear, what is your favorite concession stand item? What is your favorite horror movie set in a theater? What is your favorite scene from a horror movie set in a movie theater? I want to know all of those, so please write us at anothermiserablepodcast@gmail.com and let us know your favorite horror film set in a movie theater, your favorite concession stand item. I want to know. So tell us.
And let us know your favorite Disney Channel horror adjacent series. And if it's under wraps, go fuck yourself.
Especially if it's the reboot Under Wraps.
I watched Under Wraps around Halloween, and I enjoyed it.
Did you
It's
watch
good.
the new? Did you
No.
watch
Oh,
the
fuck no.
reboot
No, didn't know that was a thing.
thing?
Not
Yeah.
watching. No, the original's on
there.
YouTube.
Oh, the original's on Disney Plus.
It wasn't around Halloween. I couldn't find it. I had to watch it on YouTube.
Really? It is now. They put it up when they put the reboot up, probably.
Oh, okay.
Boogedy is on Disney Plus, and so is Bride of Boogedy, lesser film.
So as always, make sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMPHorror. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/anothermiserablepodcast, Horror Decomposed. And again, we're on all your favorite streaming services. Casey, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter and on Letterboxd at Lucha Gringo. Just don't be a weirdo, and I'll accept you. Be a weirdo, but don't be like a weirdo. You know what I mean? Like if you're wearing a mask with a zipper over your mouth and your profile pic, I'm probably not going to accept you.
They're just really big fans of Pulp Fiction.
Possibly. I didn't think of that.
Kris, where can they find you?
You can find me in my apartment and in the editing bay sometimes, working on my thesis film. But you can't find me in there. I'm probably on Twitter at Kris Pistol. Kris with a K and Pistol with a E.
Anything new with Can You Hear the Pod Tonight, your other podcast?
Oh God,
Disney
we recorded
podcast?
last time we checked. We recorded an episode, and I haven't edited it yet because we've been so busy.
Well, I think the last episode you did was it Hercules?
Hercules, yeah, we've got a Robin Hood episode in waiting to be edited.
Awesome, and where can they find that?
That's on Spotify, I think,
And YouTube, right?
and YouTube. Yes.
You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Earth2Zach, Earth, the number 2 Zach, ZAK. You can also find me on Letterboxd under the same handle, Earth2Zach. You can read my full reviews of things that I've watched recently. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Please, if you feel so inclined, leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or whatever streaming service you listen to us on. That would really, really help us out. We would super appreciate it. If you're interested in collabing with us again, write us at anothermiserablepodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to collab with you, love to promote whatever you're working on, have you on the show, interview you, talk horror movies with you, pop culture, all that good stuff. Please write us at anothermiserablepodcast@gmail.com. As Casey is showing us the things but on camera. And
No, Zach was just laughing for no reason when he was saying normal things like a fucking maniac. I don't know what you're talking about.
so, stay tuned. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/AMPHorror. We will have more polls coming up, but you heard it here first. Our next episode is going to be a horror Disney decom episode. So stay tuned for all of that, and we'll see you there. Take it easy.